You know Anja's Takapo, the ability that lets you rewind a single action? Now imagine that, but for your entire team. Twice. I wish I was kidding, but no. This is Hatsune Miku, the first anniversary character for P5X. So they just reviewed Miku's kit, so in this video, I will go over it and share with you my thoughts. But before that, I need to clarify something. Miku doesn't rewind turn, instead she gives extra action, or in this case extra turns. They are different. I will talk about that a bit later on, but just know that they are different, they are not the same. And the fact that she can give 2 extra turns sound very broken, but it might not be that broken under certain scenarios. I will talk about it later as well. Let's actually understand how she works. So we have this nice graphic from the live stream. But how she works is kinda, I wouldn't say easy, but it's simple to understand at least. So there's gonna be 2 skills, skill 1, skill 2. And each skill is gonna have 3 songs. And every turn, you can choose one of the 6. For Heaven, the first one, skill 1 is gonna be Pierce buff, skill 2 is gonna be Healing. Spring Storm, skill 1 is gonna be Party damage buff, skill 2 is gonna be Weakness damage up. This I assume is gonna be similar to Futaba skill 3, which is very strong. Play with Fire, skill 1 is gonna be Crit damage buff, skill 2 is gonna be Crit rate buff. All of these except for HP recovery are buffs. So which one should you use? Personally, the first one, definitely Pierce rate. This one is useless for, doing damage, it's just healing. For Spring Storm, definitely the Weakness damage up, 100%. Play with Fire is definitely crit damage. But you can choose crit rate if you haven't hit the crit cap. So it depends. Every turn you can choose one of these, or maybe turn 1 you do Pierce, this one. Turn 2 you do this, turn 3 you do this, then you kinda repeat. Then on turn 6, you can use skill 3. Skill 3 is very strong. The strongest part is the extra turn. It gives 2 extra turns to every single teammate. And it also buff damage, buff crit damage. You will reactivate all of the, not all 6, but the skill that you used just now. Just like if you use Pierce, Weakness, crit damage, you will reactivate that again. And you also heal SP recovery. But that's kind of the gist of it. Now let's go into a bit more detail on, each of the skills, the awarenesses, the weapon. So let's talk about A0 first. So A0 basically says that you can change battle scenery. Like I showed just now, 3 different songs. You can choose one song for skill 1 or skill 2. And skill effects are enhanced based on the current song playing. And then when you switch skill, I guess, or switch song, the song will change. I think the background also changes and stuff. And the song of course changes, which is very cool. But sadly for me as a content creator, when I record video, I need to be very careful not to play her music because of copyright. That's something I need to take note. And also when I stream, I need to be careful. I think they also say that there's an option, at least in the Chinese version, they say that there's an option to turn off the music and play the original P5X track instead. In the passive or talent, when you gain track, you buff party attack for 3 turns, stack up to 3 times. So the track is basically your skill 1 or skill 2. Of course we don't know the numbers yet, as the stream is at 1 week earlier, they still need to fine tune or maybe discuss the numbers. Then the second passive, in Virtual Concert, this one is skill 3, when skill 3 is active, you increase party's damage. Again, we don't know number, just party damage, which is nice. Now going to the skill 1, increase party's attack for 3 turns, and this one I already mentioned. Heaven, Spring Storm, Play with Fire, the music. You can choose this Pierce, Party or Crit damage. Depends on the song you choose. But ideally you want to choose at least one from each song. Skill 2 is Party damage buff. Just now was attack, this one is Party damage. So this one same thing. Already talk about it. You are healing, you are Weakness damage, you are crit rate. And they have like 4 action cooldown, which is nice. So you can use like Heaven, Spring Storm, Play with Fire, Heaven, Spring Storm, and then you do skill 3. Or something like that. For skill 3, this is the big one. You can only use this when you have 3 different tracks. So it's very important, again, to get 3 tracks. You spend all the tracks to activate Virtual Concert. Then you change to a new song, goes through. So we have a bunch of like songs and stuff. Sadly, I don't know much of Hatsune Miku. The only thing I know is Heaven, because it's from Persona 4. Everything else I don't know, so I'm sorry. I cannot comment on that. But anyways, you change the song to go through, and this time you stop foes from moving. And grant allies 2 turns of extra actions. This is crazy, actually. Stop foes turn. This basically turn like the battle into like a mini Devour Dream skill boss. And because the enemies cannot move, you can stack debuffs. So something like Toy is going to benefit more. You can highlight it maybe 1 turn earlier, then you will have the debuff for like 2 turns technically, because of the extra action and the opponents cannot move. The debuffers will get some more value with Miku. These actions do not count toward the total number of actions taken. So basically, what this means is, a 6-turn fight becomes 8 turns. But buff and debuff countdowns will still decrease as normal. The debuff countdown I assume is your own, not the enemies, because the enemies don't move. If enemies don't move, the debuff don't decrease for them. But for yourself, yes. Then you extend the duration of buffs applied by Miku by 2 turns. Then when she's in the virtual console, she cannot move. Makes sense. Then at the end of allies extraction, virtual console is removed. Then you restore SP to allies. Very nice. Then the effects granted when tracks were gained are reactivated for 2 turns. So basically the 3 skills or 3 tracks you use will be reactivated again. So you have all the buffs active during these 2 extra actions. So this is going to be your big damage turn. Then your crit damage, party crit damage also increase. Next up, the 5-star weapon. This 5-star weapon, I think is going to be one of the best 5-star weapon. Plus attack, plus crit damage, up to 3 times as well. And more importantly, skill amplification. I believe she's only the 2nd character to get this. The first one being the twins. And honestly, skill amplification is one of the big reasons why the twins are very hard to power creep. What this skill amplification means is that all your skill multiplier, all your damage, all your buff, all your debuff will get amplified by a percentage. Which means that the more damage you do, the more it gets amplified. The more buff you do, the more attack you buff, the more that attack buff will get amplified. The fact that you get that from the weapon, I think is going to make this weapon very strong. But as always, I will go test it and will let you guys know. If you're interested, feel free to subscribe. Now moving on to the awareness. A1 gives you more skill amplification. That's very nice. And the important thing, when virtual console is activated, you reset highlight cooldown. This is very strong. It means that you can use like a double DPS highlight or like a double twins fire eyes highlight or something. You can use like on turn 3 then use turn 5 again or something. That will be very strong. And when virtual console is active, you increase highlight and DG final damage amplification. Final damage is very strong. And then you also increase your highlight and DG gauge charge. I think her A1 is really strong. Yeah, so it's basically about highlight and DG. The A2 is not bad also. You grant all effects of skill 1 and skill 2. They increase party's final damage for 2 turns. So okay, this first part, you activate skill 1 and skill 2. This one is not that crazy honestly. This means that after you skill 3 virtual console, you activate all 6 of this, which isn't crazy honestly because you can activate 3 of this already, right? Like PS rate, weakness, crit damage. If you get your crit rate to max already, to cap, this one is useless. So all you get is party damage buff. So that's not, that's nothing crazy. But what is strong is the A2. Here is the final damage. I'm pretty sure Ange A2 also something similar, get final damage. But that's very nice. Again, we don't know the number, but I assume it's at least decent. Then A4 is probably the worst thing in her kit, I think. Just attack buff for 2 turns. Cool, I guess. Yeah, A6 is crazy. This A6 is kinda like a catchy. When the skill 3 ends, the virtual console ends, Miku will basically do almighty damage to the foes based on the recorded damage during the 2 extra turns. So it's basically like a catchy. I don't know by how much it is, but you can see the script here, what they said. Deal the same amount again. So if it's 100% of everything, that's actually insane. That's basically A6 Akechi. Overall, I think she's very strong. But at the start of the video, I told you that in certain scenarios, she might not be that good. And that scenario is going to be with 3 turn burst DPS. The reason is because you only get 2 turns, right? 2 turns of the extra action. Only 2. That means your battle goes from 6 to 8 turns. And 8 is not a multiple of 3. You technically still only have 2 burst turn. But instead, this skill 3 is going to be really good with 2 turn DPS like a Makoto Yuki or your Frost Scale Mod, which attacks every other turn. Because doing the 2 extra action, you can still like set up, right? Set up 2 more damage. So 2 turn DPS, Miku is going to be really good. And I actually want to delve into a bit deeper on how this extra turn actually works. Let's use a rotation as an example. We'll just take this rotation as an example. If you do Miku here turn 6, you use the skill 3. What happens to this turn? Does this turn get replaced with the virtual console? Or maybe it gets pushed down and this becomes turn 8, right? How does it work? Does it get replaced or does it push down? We actually have an answer from the Chinese livestream. I will show you. Please take note of this Jack Frost. It's between these 4 characters. Remember that. Now look at what happens when Miku uses her skill 3, the virtual console. You will see that the Jack Frost is now gone. It's no longer on the turn order. What happened to it? Well, we just wait for a bit. You attack a bit, and you will see Jack Frost is dead. So what this confirms is that once you use Miku skill 3, everything else gets pushed back. You immediately enter the virtual console and push back turn 6. Then if you continue a little bit more, you will see that the Jack Frost, Morgana. So you'll see that it really gets pushed back. So if you go back to rotation, the turn 6 basically becomes turn 8, pushed down. But the things you do on turn 6 remains the same, if that makes sense. Basically, turn 6 becomes turn 8, and turn 6-7 becomes the virtual console. And your big damage turn is still on turn 6. I hope I'm not confusing. Turn 6 becomes turn 8, but you still do the same thing on turn 6, but you gain turn 6 and 7, which are the virtual console. So this is kind of bad for maybe 3 turn DPS, turn 3 burst DPS, because you pretty much don't change anything here, because you can't. Turn 3 DPS, 3 turn DPS will burst on turn 3 and turn 6, and you cannot change that. You cannot change that to like 2, 5 and 8, because you do 2, 5 and 8, you will skip 6, 7, which is the virtual console turn. You want to do big damage on the virtual console, so turn 6 or turn 7. Typically turn 6. I don't think any DPS bursts on turn 7. That's a really weird number to burst on, I guess. For 2 turn DPS, it's gonna be like normal kinda, because like for example Makoto Yuki, you see that Makoto Yuki alternates 1-3, 1-3, 1-3, so you put 2 more turns, it's still gonna be 1-3, so nothing much changes. And actually for all the DPS, right, I think the regular 6 turn rotation, the buff is gonna be similar somewhat, because your big damage is still on turn 6. Right, your big damage is still on turn 6, because turn 6 is the virtual console turn. What might change slightly is maybe one turn's rotation, because like I think I mentioned just now, with virtual console it kind of becomes a mini Devour Dreams guild boss, because the enemy don't move, you can stack debuff. So you can probably like Rakunda, Vishnu, stack defense debuff more, something like that. Or you can run Matoi with the highlight. Maybe Howler got a little bit of indirect buff, maybe, though Howler is not very good right now. Maybe she gets better with awareness, but yeah, debuffers get the bit indirect buff. And that being said, I will still try to make turn 3 turn DPS work. It's not gonna be easy though, because rotation is very weird. If for example Haru, you can only get 3 bullets for the last turn, right? Because 7 then 8, you only have 2 turns, you cannot really stack skill 1, skill 3 there. A little bit awkward to use. Or maybe you can change to turn 4, turn 7 burst, or turn 3, turn 7 burst. Maybe that might work actually for like a 3 turn DPS. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to test this. And one bad thing about Miku is that it's 2 extra turns, it means that I need more time to test now. That's gonna suck a bit. Yeah, just final thoughts on Hatsune Miku. I think she's gonna be quite strong. Maybe broken even. You still don't know the buff numbers and stuff. But even if it's average, I still think it's really good. I mean, the fact that I think she buffs literally every single stat. Crit rate, crit damage, attack damage, skill amplification, pierce, she buffs everything. Buffs literally everything. Twins doesn't buff crit rate, but Miku buffs crit rate as well if you choose to. That's pretty crazy. And Miku can also heal. That's actually crazy to think about. I don't think Miku will directly replace Anj, because Anj, will probably be used for 3 turn burst DPS, because 3 turn burst probably won't be as good with Miku because of the timing, the turn timing and stuff. I could be wrong. We need to test this and to make sure. 2 turn DPS definitely very good, definitely better for Miku. However though, Futaba is a corner. And you only need 2 navigators for the game. The guild boss SOS, Astrolab, I think 2 navigators is good enough to clear a lot of stuff. So Futaba is kind of cooked. We probably won't really use her much anymore with Miku and Anj. And there's also Fuka in the future. Fuka might get cooked as well, unless she gets crazy buff. Yeah, feel free to let me know what you guys think of this character. I think it's very exciting. I like her kit. It's gonna be very interesting to try her out, to try and figure out rotation, even though the rotation is gonna take a longer time to test.